A wonderful Saturday morning to all of you. It's been a while since I've done my last YouTube video, so I figured I'd just show you the progress on my latest project called Pleasure Plains. Right here is an overview of the park. I think this video won't be much longer than 5 to 10 minutes. So it's a nice little thing to watch or listen to while you're doing your morning chores. Now I start here with the entrance plaza, or basically the ticket and guest relation plaza. For those of you who live in Hawks Eye, maybe you recognize a bit of a very famous American amusement park here. I've taken a couple of leaves out of the book of Carowinds. And the Carowinds amusement park has this semicircular plaza, and on the right hand it would then have the amphitheater. Now, as I'm not going to build a Carowinds like park, I'm just sticking here with the entrance plaza, and I kind of gave it my own twist, made it a full circle, decided to go with the ticket booths on the left and the service and guest relation and season ticket sales, etc., on the right. And that's kind of all there is to it. Now let's just zoom in. Here's Pleasure Plains in its full glory. With that I mean the logo. Basically what I'm thinking here is a bit of a backstory. Backstories for my park aren't the best, to be honest, but I'm guessing that at one point in their life, in the park's life, they started out as a bit of a Western park. Whether this park is actually situated in America or not, I'll just leave that one open. But I do think I'm going with a more generic park this time around, and not too much theming going on, except for very small local theming with certain food stalls and attractions. So the backstory is, as I said, it used to be, or it used to have, a Western like section, and I'm guessing we will find a typical Wild West Main Street at some point, somewhere in the park. It could be a Main Street like structure, it could be just a couple of saloons and banks, and those typical Wild West buildings scattered around the ride. Not sure yet, but it will be featured in the park. Pleasure Plains, the name is of course as lame as any amusement park name, except if it's Disney World or Tivoli or Efteling. It's built on the plains. I really love the Grassland map for two reasons. One, it's as flat and easy and accommodating as you can find in Planet Coaster. And second, and this has always been a big concern of me stemming back to the Roller Coaster Tycoon days, there are very few trees and objects planted outside of the park's borders. I personally find this important because the more objects, the lower your frame rate. And I don't mind having a low frame rate, but at least it should be caused by the things that I build and not by random stuff strewn around the park. So this is why these are my two reasons. As you can see, it's a very resource-friendly map. What I also like is that depending on what kind of terrain mix you assign to the map, these days you can do it yourself. I always have city tarmac and concrete in there. Mind you, this here is not asphalt. This is not the tarmac. This is actually concrete. Whereas the tarmac is a lot darker. So to be fair, it's almost too dark. If you look at satellite pictures, you'll find that asphalt is usually a shade brighter, usually more like concrete. Anyway, what I was going to say, I'm rambling a bit here. What I really like about Grassland is assigning the default grass makes it look all very dead and dry. Now, this has a psychological effect, meaning that when you actually feel like incorporating grass, which is expensive to maintain and must be used sparsely, you will use another color swatch. I think this one is alpine grass or deciduous grass. I'm not sure. Either one of those. And it looks distinct, it looks very different. And so that really drives home the sensation that this is a valuable resource. Because the one thing that the big problem that we always have with everyone and who starts a project is you just start with this insanely large slab of land, whereas normally it's a preserve or a plot of land right outside of a city limits, or it's something where there used to be an old factory, and normally you are very much limited by the direct surroundings. And here in Planet Coaster, you just have this insanely huge undiscovered valley that is all yours, which is completely unrealistic. And so to kind of drive home the point that grass is actually a very sparse to be used and valuable resource, I like having the rest of the area, the rest of the terrain, to look decidedly different. Okay, now let me just show you what I've built so far. I mean, after all, this is what the video is all about, not to hear you talk, for you to hear me talk about my philosophies. Here we go. Starting on the left, we've got guest mobility. These were created, I think, 2 years ago by fishermen. You can find them on the workshop. Not sure what they were called, and unfortunately I took them apart because I wanted to give them different colors. I think they all came in blue. But you can find them. Just search for scooter or buggy and then you'll find them. Now, obviously, they don't look too good from up close. There's only one buggy that actually looks like a buggy, but if I'm not mistaken, it's a TMTK item, very good, of roughly 10 megabytes. So I'm using this one. They just look, they look good enough. The scooters, however, look great. They could be the real deal. They're fantastic job, fishermen, and I just use them here, and I call it guest mobility. I guess that's a nicer way than, say handicapped or whatsoever. Here we have ticket booths, and these are actually functioning information booths. Now, what is the big secret there? I downloaded Silent Members, that really is his nickname, Silent Members Invisible Path and Shop mod, and with that it dismantles the entire shop save for the shopkeeper. So this right here is a shop. You can see shop information, status, blah blah blah. I never understand why we have items for sale here, by the way, because it's not like we can choose anything else. We can't add anything. It's really shitty, but it is what it is. So these are working. So the moment I actually open this for guests, you will see people going to these fictional, sadly, ticket booths. This is one of the gripes that I have with Planet Coaster, by the way. There's this whole thing about getting tickets, right? Ticket prices and how many guests and all that sort of stuff. Except they don't buy them anywhere. Sure, okay, why not? Alright, going back here, actually a bit of decoration on the inside, not too much. As you know, I'm a real stickler for low piece count, so it looks a bit dreary, but at the same time, good enough. And you'll find that they work together in a larger room. They have a very arbitrary, simple, courtesy of iDraw here, point of sale terminal and little card reader, etc. And there you go. Some of them have what I think, or what I would like to think of, brochures in the back, maybe a box of them, or piled up like this. And that's all there is to it. There are a couple of chairs for in between shifts, or I guess when it's a quiet moment. Please ignore the ugly lights, but you know what, they just do the trick, so whatever, it's fine. And that is the ticket booth hall, if you want. From the outside they look like that. Little TV display showing ticket prices, with the prices neatly blocked out, and that's all there's to it. Then on top there's just very little going on. I kept it very simple. I still need to add, oh no, actually I did that here. On the back it's just as interesting. You know, I'm a stickler for backstage areas. There's something of a, what do you call this again? A drain pipe, thank you. Of a drain pipe. There's a way to get on top of the roof, and obviously this is the backstage area, so all looks a bit barren. You can see here what I have in mind for the backstage area, and this is what it is going to look like everywhere. So you'll see cars and trucks and storage and God knows what. Let's see. This is what it looks like by day. This is what it looks like by night. So, you know, nothing much going on. Decided to put the ugly lanterns on this side. I think the best backstage always are the ones that look the dreariest and the most industrial and the saddest place to be. I think once you achieve these three parameters, you have a good backstage area. This is going to be, I actually still need to add the benches here, but this is going to be the relaxation area. I don't know what it is, to be honest. You can also consider decoration. These are custom made by yours truly. Pergolas, I used them with Hydro. I built them with Hydro, his beam set, and you know, it's on the other side as well, so whatever. Going on this side, honestly, same old services in this area. Passes for so-called annual passes, silver, gold, platinum, diamond. You know, it's, yeah, and this one says park map, fast pass, 5 of them, I'm guessing that I meant there. Umbrella and poncho. Sadly, none of these items actually get sold at the information point except for the fast pass called priority pass. I really wish we had weather in Planet Coaster 2, and I still don't understand why they didn't implement that after they released Zoo, but it is what it is. And there are the toilets. Again, empty because of Hydro's mod, but they really are here. And yeah, that just, you know, just adds reality, and very happy with it. Okay, moving on, we get to the checkpoint. So there are a couple of these TMTK item tent pavilions that I put here. There are these beautiful, I mean, a foldable table isn't beautiful, it's just that this is so well made. This is such a realistic, you know, it's just really good. Scale is good, looks good, it's recolorable. You can get it on the workshop. You can see there's a vista point right in front of it. And you can't see it, of course. Yeah, there we are. So it's somewhere here. Believe me, it is. And that means people will congregate here right before this table. So that's kind of what I wanted, because obviously in Planet Coaster you don't have security checkpoints. So we just have to do a lot of make-believe. Then there are some Shawshank Redemption fences right here to keep people out of the backstage area. Which is visible, by the way. I kind of wanted that to be visible. I'm not sure if I will build something of a fence here. I could imagine that I would do that. But for the rest, I don't mind people peering a bit backstage. This is not Disneyland, Efteling, Epcot. You know, this isn't one of those extremely, how do you say this? This isn't one of those immersion parks, right? This isn't meant. Universal Studios comes to mind. This isn't meant for you to just completely lose sight of reality. This is an entertainment park. This is amusement. This isn't a theme park. Okay, going back here, we have some cameras. I always like using these bulbs, the spooky wall lights. In my opinion, still the very best pack. Actually, together with Studios, extremely versatile, and you know, just to kind of keep an eye on the people. Fun thing is, once you make sure that they aren't part of the actual building, you can just easily click them, and if you decide to do a recording, you know, just you get that perspective, and it just works. I just really like that. Going back today, this is Main Street. I don't like main streets at all. So last time I built a park, I made a complete circular plaza on the entrance side, so not the one I just shown you, but basically a way to, you know, kind of make a circular like Main Street, and from there you would waver out in either direction. Yeah, in this case, I guess it's a bit of a main street, but it's a very strict main street, if that's anything. On this side there's a staff building, on that side there are toilets, and the other way vice versa, on the other side. And there are a couple of shops here. I don't do shop interiors, by the way. That's for those with patience. I'm not among them. So what did I do? I just put a color panel right behind the door so that it lights up like a Christmas tree at night, including the windows. Whoops. Not too many details there, but you know what? Good enough for me. The thing is, whenever I spend too much time on one spot, it takes away time from the entire park. So My philosophy is that you have a certain amount of hours that you want to dedicate to a certain project. You may not know the amount of hours before you get started, but at one point you will have reached your limit for that project. And so my goal is to keep going and build as much as I can until I hit the quotum. So I'm not going to waste hours on shop interiors that I will only photograph once, maybe show in a video once, and then never look at it again. So there we are. Using the spooky banners, the sadly not entirely recolorable, so the wicked smile stays visible, remains visible, but you know, just gives some color. It's a bit generic. This is kind of a corporate-looking main street, but with the right amount of litter, bins, flagpoles with lanterns with flags, swing signs, etc. It still has some character. These trees were made by N7, if that's still his nickname these days. They're custom trees made of a couple of bushes actually, and they just look great. They are exactly the kind of tree you expect there, and if you rotate them and kind of use different heights, then it looks very realistic. You also find that not every planter has a tree. I'm assuming something happened here once to the tree, or it was deemed too close to the building or whatever, or it fell over, I have no idea, but it just kind of adds to the realism to not have trees everywhere. Okay, once we're moving past it, you'll find, let's see, oh, actually almost forgot about it. I made this balloon stand, again, using an invisible shop, a couple of TMTK balloons, not too many by the way, but, you know, let's say he already had a good day and he sold some. So this is his balloon cart, this little fellow. And yeah, I'm quite happy with how that turned out. There's a pigeon right here about to attack him. And yeah, it's accessible. You can literally, I think I can do this. Did I use a... Oh yeah, okay, it's there. I just used the invisible path, like this one will turn paths invisible. You can download this mod on our Discord. See link in video description. Let's see, I'm all over the place and I'm actually going well beyond the 10 minutes. I hope you're enjoying this. Here's a custom-made planter. Everything except for the plants here is and the lanterns is hydro. I used hydro's beams and hydro's mulch, and I made these planters. They look, I think, they look decent. They're not too overcrowded, very sparsely, something you see more in Northern American parks. And there's this extremely, there's still a gap here that I need to fill, because obviously I don't want people to wander on the backstage. And there's a wonderfully generic looking ice cream shop. I couldn't have made a building more generic than this if I tried. So I hope you still like it. And this is what it looks like at night, using spotlight to make sure that the front is well illuminated, well lit, and using these splashes for you know, a bit of color and giving that kind of ice cream sundae feeling. I struggled with separating the terrace area from the path. I did fences, I did hedges, I used, what did I use? A combination of the two, and in the end I just decided to go with something very elegant, very simple. Just a couple of, what do you call them? I wouldn't call, yeah, vases, planters, whatever you want to call them, containers. With tulips, of course, orange tulips. And we had King's Day this week, so obviously a little nod to His Majesty. And no, I'm just kidding. I put the tulips there before King's Day. And you know, it's a lovely generic looking place, isn't it? I mean, this is exactly the kind of place that you could see anywhere in North America and even parts of the UK. They're also doing a really good job of being extremely basic. And you know, this is what it looks like. Pretty simple. Eliminated color panels. Again, those are in-game, by the way, the color panels. If you have a studio pack, you have them. And they just, you know, they really are great, to be honest. They add so much life to the park, to dark rides. They're very versatile. There's a bit of clutter on the roof. I always like that. I don't know if it makes any sense. I'm not a plumber, I'm not a technician, I don't know anything of this stuff. But it's clutter, right? So Just makes it look a bit more real. Lovely Backstage area, door, camera, keypad still missing. I'm working on it. I should also use a different stone on the back, at least for this part here, because it's the part that visitors wouldn't see, and you don't do your backstage area that detailed. So I could even take out, say, this corner right here with the eaves, and it would probably be fine. I think I could do this on the spot, couldn't I? Hold on. I said, hold on. And then I would take ugliest of them all. Where are you? There you go. My old faithful. Do I do like that? I suppose that could work, yeah. Alright, how bad is that from this side? Yeah, no, I should have them embedded. Hold on. Yeah, so this is the thing, by the way, with walls. They're not exactly... I don't know if this is the right way to describe it, but they're not exactly 100%. What I mean there is that depending on their position, if you rotate them, the flat roof pieces will peek out. It's probably just a pixel in width, but it's depending on if you want that or not. I don't want that in this case, by the way. I think it looks unrealistic. Yeah, no, it looks weird. Yeah, alright, there you have it. And this looks better from that angle. Fine. So if they would ever go there, yeah, I guess this is as good as it gets. How about from this side? Perfectly fine. Okay. So with this one in place. Oh, I know. You know, this is one of my little pet peeves. I hate this. This doesn't close. This gap drives me insane. But it is what it is. Alright, let's just look at the other side. We have this building right here, Missy Goods Emporium. Again, with a similar setup for the terrace, but more sugary sweet, as Missy Goods says in her annoying advertisements. Not much to tell you here, just looks lovely. I noticed that whenever you use shutters, it always comes alive. So you can use the in-game city bricks, put shutters on top, and you know, you just have a whole new look. It just looks great. Also on this side, I should really stick to the ugly wall, to the concrete wall, just like I did right here, because that drives home the backstage feeling. And last but not least, actually no, not last or least, because we still have something to show right there. This is going to be the train area, the train boarding area, the train station. Very good. Lovely frogs that you can download on the workshop, and the train station itself with the three what do you call them, drop towers in the back. Some, I don't know, this could come from a fairy tale or from a temple in Thailand, but I just kind of wanted to have something there on the moat, on the hill, sorry. So I use these flowers. This kind of old orange, maroonish red is basically the color of the amusement park for some reason. What you can see here is that I use different shades of that color. Some of the flowers are a bit brighter, some of them are a bit darker. Again, when seen from afar, it just adds a bit more of dynamic to that texture. Otherwise, it looks way too similar. Naturally, every third or fourth flower has been rotated at random, because otherwise you just get this stapler effect where everything looks the same. Gotta lift this one up a bit, it's sunk into the ground. There we go. What else do we have right here? A little retainer wall. Just elegant stuff. Custom lanterns behind it using the spooky lamps and candy canes. That's all there's to it. Only 7 pieces. That is if you include the floodlight at the bottom, because that really gives that kind of bigger glow that you're looking Then there are some planters in front. I'm still on the fence if I should, and there was no pun intended there, whether I should fence it off. I guess I should. I just don't want to do it because it's a shitload of work, but I know that when I'm done, it'll always pay off. So stay tuned for custom fencing and 2 hours that I will never get back. Now we move to this area. I have no idea what's going to go on the left here, but I did have a nice idea for an amusement for a flat ride called Pharaoh's Revenge. Queue starts here. Again, no queue bollards thanks to Silent Members mod, so this already looks 10 times better, doesn't it? And I just wanted to have a bit of a different theme here for the Caterpillar. It's a nonsensical ride anyway, so I just thought let's go with that, using the Gozer Temple and some Adventure Temple pieces. They really go along very well together. And Backstage Area is right behind it, and you know it's simple. It's extremely simple, but it just works. And now this flat ride has its home. It looks right. I think it's realistic enough. I just need to give the operator something to work with, because that too has been deleted with got deleted with Silent Members mod. Then we have these beautiful queue fans that are courtesy of our dear golden boy Hydro. I just put the timer on move every 30 seconds, so we should see it rotate in a few moments. There we go. I love it. I've never seen it, by the way, in a queue, but I heard that it's more of a common thing in Asian and American parks. So why not add it here? And yeah, you know, it's just again one of these little details that it just really adds to it. I see that I still need to put lanterns here. I will probably attach very simple block lights or something here to these poles, and that should do the trick. Little secret here, by the way, the fire pit, let me get that one, the fire pit small from the adventure pack, together with the, no surprise, fire pit large. Add some of that hydro mulch and you have an excellent looking planter. Beautiful stuff, very easy, very computer, CPU friendly. I always want to be really careful with what how I use the land. So this whole idea of adding forests and forests and forests behind and around rides is very unrealistic. Land is expensive, so you want to utilize it as much as you can. So I'm guessing that they only have one big planter here. Maybe even it gets off here because it's a maintenance building. I still need to finish this, but the whole idea here is that there just isn't that much land to have trees, right? And so this is all you have there. But at the same time, when you stand here, and if I manage to somehow add something here in the sideline, or not, that's also fine, by the way. It just really, it already gives you a lush feeling, and that's enough. You don't need to have a forest to get that feeling as if the ride is situated in nature. You just need a bit around it to make it believable. Using various textures here, the poplar, sycamore, ponderosa pine, and this beautiful crimson king. I think that one originates in Asia, but you know what? Let's say we're in a very temperate climate where everything goes. And just together it just kind of adds that texture that you want. It's not too homogeneous. There's an oak tree there, in the back as a filler, and it just works well together. It works well. And that's all. Thank you for hearing me ramble. Last but not least, this time for real, there's the Eurofighter that I'm very proud of because I suck at coasters, and this is the one coaster that I finished that's actually good. And has an excellent rating, so I can't wait to see people use it. I've been taking it to different parks, never finished those parks, so let's hope it really found its permanent home here. As the area right behind this curve will be parking lot, I'm guessing this will be some sort of a carved out area. We'll see, but that's it. We're at 30 minutes. Thank you for watching. Take care, play Planet Coaster, and stay healthy. Bye bye.